we want to challenge the legislative competence of the bill, we should have some homework. We should have to go the bill, but unfortunately we are not getting an opportunity to go through the contents of the bill.
Yes, sir, I heard you.
Just coming to the house and supporting
I
it
heard you,
means
sir. You
it
made
is
the
quietly,
point,
it is bulldozing
Mr.
of the
Nishikant
legislature
Dubey.
that may not be allowed.
सर 72-2 ये कहता है कि ये हाउस कॉम्पिटेंट है या नहीं है इस बिल को डिस्कशन करने के लिए या पास करने के लिए। ये जो बिल है सर, ये तो इस हाउस के द्वारा पास किया हुआ बिल है जिसको कि सरकार रिपील करना चाहती है। इसमें कौन सा 72(1) का वायलेशन हो रहा है?
Please listen to me. Honorable Speaker, sir, has waived the requirements of Directive 19A and 19B on a request made by the Honorable Minister. प्रश्न ये है कि विधायक को पुनः स्थापित करने का अनुमति प्रदान की जाए। जो सदस्य इसके पक्ष में वो हाँ कहें, जो सदस्य इसके विरोध में कहें वो ना कहें। मेरे विचार में निर्णय हाँ वालों के पक्ष में हुआ, हाँ वालों के पक्ष में हुआ। माननीय मंत्री जी विधेयक को पुनः स्थापित करें।
Honorable Chairperson, sir, I introduce the bill. Thank you.
थैंक यू सर। माननीय मंत्री जी श्री धर्मेंद्र प्रधान जी।
Chairman sir, with your kind permission, I rise to move for the leave to introduce a bill to enable and empower the universities and other institutions to achieve excellence in teaching, learning, research and innovation through coordination and determination of standards in institutions for higher education, research and scientific and technical institutions, and for that purpose to constitute a Vikasit Bharat Shiksha Adhishtan to facilitate universities and other higher educational institutions to become independent, self-governing institutions and to promote excellence through a robust and transparent system of accreditation and autonomy, and for matters of connected therewith or incidental thereto.
Sir, you will be given an opportunity to speak. I will give an opportunity. Kindly be seated. There are listed members to be given opportunity. माननीय श्रीमती ज्योति मणि जी,
Not present.
माननीय श्रीमती के काव्या जी, माननीय श्री मनीष तिवारी जी।
Mr. Chairperson, I rise to oppose the introduction of the Viksit Bharat Shiksha Adhishtan Bill 2025 under Rule 70(1) of the Rules of Procedure and Conduct of Business in the Lok Sabha. The grounds for the opposition of the bill are as follows. First, the bill results in excessive centralization of higher education and violates the constitutional distribution of legislative competence. While Parliament may legislate under entry 66 of List 1 on coordination and determination of standards, this power is limited and cannot be used to occupy the entire field of legislation. The bill goes far beyond standards and intrudes into administration, affiliation, establishment, and closure of university campuses, their institutional autonomy, matters falling within entry 25 of List 3 and entry 32 of List 2, which covers incorporation and regulation of state universities. Second, the bill suffers from excessive delegation of legislative power. Vast and substantial, ranging from accreditation frameworks, degree-granting powers, penalties, institutional autonomy, and even supersession are left to be determined by rules, regulations, and executive direction. This abdication of essential legislative functions violates settled constitutional principles governing delegated legislation. Third, the bill undermines the autonomy and independence of statutory regulatory bodies by making them bound by policy directions of the central government and subject to supersession at executive discretion. Such provisions erode institutional independence and offend the constitutional requirement of fairness, non-arbitrariness, and check on executive power under Article 14. Fourth, the bill also concerns Article 19(1)(g) of the Constitution of India by subjecting educational institutions to pervasive executive control, graded autonomy, intrusive compliance requirements, severe penalties and closure powers. It imposes disproportionate and unreasonable restrictions on the right to carry on education as an occupation. While regulation in the public interest is permissible under Article 19(6), the bill goes far beyond reasonable regulation and vests unguided overboard powers that fail the test of proportionality as laid down by this House and the Supreme Court. And last, Mr. Chairperson, sir, I oppose the bill given the overriding clause given by this bill over all other laws, coupled with the powers to supersede existing regulations, raising serious concerns of arbitrariness, legal uncertainty, impacting institutions established under state laws without any safeguards. And I do hope, Mr. Chairperson, sir, that the Minister would reply to each and every ground on which the introduction of this bill has been opposed.
Mananiya Shri N.K. Premchandran ji.
Sir, thank you
Yes,
very
sir.
much for...
I will give an opportunity to you,
Sir, thank you very much.
Please be seated. Yes, sir. Please continue.
Sir, thank you very much for affording me this opportunity to object the introduction of the bill. It is very difficult as far as I am concerned to even pronounce. A member from the South India, it finds it very difficult so as to even pronounce the bill. Name of the nomenclature of the bill, the Vikasit Bharat Shiksha Adhistadhan. I can't understand what is meant by Adhistadhan as the bill 2025. So my first objection is the nomenclature of the bill by virtue of Article 348, Clause B. The authority, notwithstanding anything contained in foregoing provisions of this part, until Parliament by law otherwise provides, the authoritative text of a bill to be introduced or amendments there to be moved in either houses of the Parliament or in the House or either house of the legislature of the state shall be in English language. So the bill, the nomenclature of the bill shall be, it is not made. This is Article 348, Clause B, the authoritative text of a bill shall be in English, but unfortunately the bill, the nomenclature of the bill, it is being, I don't know which language it's, whether it is Sanskrit or Hindi, I don't know, the Vikasit Bharat Shiksha Adhisthan Bill 2025, that is my first objection. And the second objection is regarding the issue that is the entry 66 in the schedule in the central list. I do agree with regarding the higher education, but unfortunately the education, even the higher education is also included in the concurrent list in the 7th schedule in the state list. Sir, 1972 through 42nd amendment, this education is put in the concurrent list. What is the purpose of putting it in the concurrent list? Before that it was absolutely within the domain of the state list. And what is the purpose of it? The main purpose is that the local resources and the requirements of the concerned state should be taken into consideration in framing the legislation in respect of the education. But as far as this bill is concerned, if you go through the contents of the bill, it is mandatorily the state governments and all the universities, even a university which is established under an act of the state government, they are bound to abide by the conditions of the commission. That means indirectly imposing the powers of the central government on which a right which is being vested upon on the state government means it is totally against the federal principles of the constitution, and it is centralization of the power with the center. It is against the basic principles of the federalism which is envisaged in the constitution. That is my second objection. And further the curriculum, the syllabus, and all these things are being determined by this University Higher Commission. The name is, it is little bit different in Hindi. I don't know it, but I think that it is a Higher Education Commission. There also the political philosophy and the political ideology of the government at the center has to be imposed on the state. That is the main object and purpose of this bill, by which this bill is being brought in, by which the state's resources, the local requirements, and the state culture, tradition, language, that will be taken away means that is also against the basic principles of the constitution, the federal principles of the constitution. And also I fully agree with the objections already raised by Mr. Manish Tiwari ji. Along with that objection, and also the bill is not being circulated in proper time, and it is being bulldozing in the House without having proper agenda in the list of business. That also I do object with this objection. I very humbly request the Honorable Chairperson, please refer this matter for tomorrow so that we can have a detailed discussion regarding the introduction, and otherwise this may be withdrawn by the government. These
Thank
are
you,
my
sir.
objections. Thank you very much, sir.
Mananiya Professor Saugat Raji.
Sir, already Mr. Manish Tiwari, honorable member, and honorable Mr. Premchandran has opposed the introduction of the bill. But I first point out to the ineptness of the Ministry of Parliamentary Affairs. We got a copy of the bill late last night. Today in the list of business, the introduction of the bill was not mentioned. The supplementary list of business was circulated at 1 o'clock this afternoon. Now, is this the way the Parliamentary Affairs Ministry functions, where they do not even give us a chance to prepare for opposing the introduction? The main points opposing the introduction has been mentioned by honorable members Manish Tiwari and Mr. Premchandran. Sir, the Viksit Bharat Shiksha Adhishtan Bill 2025 is an effort to centralize power in the central government's hand with regard to educational matters. Earlier, there was a UGC, University Grants Commission, which decided on allocating funds for educational institutions, both universities and colleges. Now, that is being taken over and subsumed into the Viksit Bharat Shiksha Adhishtan Bill. I do admit that under Article 66, the centre has the power to legislate on the educational matters, though it is in the concurrent list. Entry subject 25 is subject to entries 63, 66 of list 1. So Parliament cannot assume comprehensive control over state universities. We have so many state universities in West Bengal. The Parliament will have total power over this. They will appoint vice chancellors and all that. As it is the governors in Kerala, West Bengal, and Tamil Nadu, they are interfering with the functioning of the universities. Now this gives legitimate power to the centre to control the functioning of the universities in higher education. This is essentially undermines autonomy and independence of statutory regulating body and checks on executive power under Article 25. This bill, hence, should not be brought. We oppose the introduction. We oppose the ineptness, the failure of the Parliamentary Affairs Ministry. They do not even give us an opportunity to study a bill.
Thank you, sir. Mananiya Shri Selvan
This
Ganpati
is
ji.
not done. Sir, you are a learned man. Teneti sir, you give a ruling on this. Let it be a historic ruling that this is not the way the Parliament should function.
Thank you, sir. Sir, I raised to oppose the introduction of the bill titled the Viksit Bharat Shiksha Adhishtan Bill 2020 under Rule 72 of the Rule of Procedure. Sir, the very name, the nomenclature itself is, we deem it to be an imposition of Hindi on those states which do not know Hindi at all. The reason, sir, all these years this government, any law they bring up, any scheme that they bring up, that they title it only in Hindi language and not as required by the Constitution of India. The Constitution is clear. The bill has to be, the name has to be, the nomenclature has to be in the language in English, so that every citizen, every part of the country knows what is the veracity of the bill. Sir, second, this against the federal principle of the Constitution. Sir, the concurrent list, the regulatory council under the commission proposed in the bill is against the spirit of the Constitution, particularly contravening the provisions under entry 32 of list 2. The power which entry 44 of the list 1 says the union government does not have power to regulate universities
and is being vested with the union by this bill is arbitrary. Sir, in the name of the coordination and determination of the standards, the entire regulation of higher education institution comes under the Government of India, the union government. This is totally a colorable legislation that gives arbitrary decision-making powers to the union government. Sir, this bill is nothing but an abuse of process of law. As per various provisions of this bill, practically the union government will be the sole decision-making authority, which is against the spirit of the Constitution. The union government will have the final say as if the bill is passed, which is totally contrary to the Constitution. In the name of Bharatiya knowledge system, whatever is asked to be followed by the Commission and its 3 vertical pillars has to be implemented by the higher education institution, failing which the institute will be deemed to have violated the Act and its accreditation may be withdrawn. So they have an enormous power. Whichever university they want to completely deemed to be violation, they can reject the accreditation. Without accreditation, no institute can function, and the accreditation power lies with the accreditation council. Sir, we therefore
Thank you. Thank you, Thank you, Chairman, sir. On 3 grounds, I would like to oppose this bill. The bill's aggressive, unnecessary Sanskritized nomenclature directly violates Article 348(1)(b), which mandates that authoritative text of all bills shall be in the English language. There is no technical reason to use in Hindi names. 53 times Hindi names are used in this text of the bill. This Vinayam Parishad, இதெல்லாம் எனக்கு ஒண்ணுமே புரியல. We don't எதுமே எங்களுக்கு புரிய மாட்டேங்குது. எங்களுக்கு நாங்க பேசுறது எப்படி உங்களுக்கு புரியலையோ அதே மாதிரி நீங்க இப்படி இந்த மாதிரி இந்தியை கொண்டு வந்து எங்க மேல திணிச்சா எங்களுக்கும் ஒண்ணும் புரிய மாட்டேங்குது. So அதனால வந்து it should be in English so that whichever the state wanted to understand the language, that language has to be allowed in this bill. This sees I see this as a kind of Hindi imposition. Already Tamil Nadu been actually deprived of Samashkrit SSA funds just because of we are not agreeing to the 3-language policy in the new education policy. This is another way of imposing Hindi on state like Tamil Nadu, which is very successful in 12-language system. Second thing, this is an attack on the federal structure. This bill moves forward despite the parliamentary standing committees on education explicit finding that the bill maintains a union government heavy composition and insufficient state representation. Sir, actually, given that state public universities and their affiliated colleges educate over 81% of India's total students enrollment and govern a network of over 46,000 affiliated institutions nationwide. This policy-making body's composition must reflect the immense scale and responsibility held by the state education sector. Then executive overreach and undermining autonomy. The proposal moves decisively away from the independent regulation. Provisions granting the union government overriding power over the commission represent a clear attempt at executive outreach, fundamentally violating the doctrine of separation of powers by subordinating a key regulatory body of the executive. Clause 11(4) clearly states that regulatory council needs the prior approval of central government to provide or revoke authorization of higher educational institution, the authority to grant degrees. On this ground, I oppose the introduction of the bill. Thank you, sir.
Thank you, ma'am. प्रश्न ये है कि विधेयक को पुनः स्थापित करने का अनुमति प्रदान की जाए। जो सदस्य इसके पक्ष में हाँ है, हाँ, जो सदस्य इसके विरोध में है वो ना कहें। मेरे विचार में निर्णय हाँ वालों के पक्ष में हुआ, हाँ वालों के पक्ष में हुआ। माननीय मंत्री जी विधेयक को पुनः स्थापित करें।
Sir, I introduced the bill and proposed that we should go to.
Sir, 1 second, sir. 1 second.
I introduced the bill, sir.
माननीय मंत्री जी किरण रिजिजू जी।
During the meeting in the Business Advisory Committee, many honorable members have requested that this is an extensive bill and we need further deliberation on this bill. So government hereby proposed to send it to joint parliamentary committee and we authorize the honorable speaker to constitute the JPC in consultation with the other house and also with various political parties.
Matter is placed. माननीय मंत्री जी, item number 14C, माननीय मंत्री Dr. Jitendra Singh ji.
Speaker sir, with your kind permission, I rise to move for leave to introduce the Sustainable Harnessing and Advancement of Nuclear Energy for Transforming India Bill 2025. Thank you, Speaker sir.
Thank you, sir. माननीय श्री बी बेहानंद जी, माननीय श्री मनीष तिवारी जी.
Thank you very much, Mr. Chairperson, sir. I rise to oppose the introduction of the Sustainable Harnessing and Advancement of Nuclear Energy for Transforming India Bill 2025 under Rule 72(1) of the Rules of Procedure and Conduct of Business in the Lok Sabha on the following grounds. First, the bill confers sweeping and pervasive powers on the central government across licensing, regulation, acquisition, tariff fixation, exemptions, emergency powers, and even novation of private contracts. Clauses empowering the centre to acquire mines, plants, reactors, substances, and contractual rights by executive action, while compensation determined largely by the government itself raises grave concerns under Article 300A of the Constitution of India and the guarantee against arbitrary deprivation of property. Second, permitting profit-seeking private participation in ultra-hazardous nuclear activities while simultaneously limiting liability, granting statutory immunities, and restricting judicial remedies undermines the state's non-delegable public trust obligations over life, health, and the environment. Such an arrangement amounts to an unconstitutional abdication of essential sovereign responsibilities and functions under Article 21 and 48A, where the state is required to act as a trustee and a guarantor and not merely as a facilitator or a licensor. Third, the bill suffers from excessive delegation of essential legislative functions. Core policy matters such as liability limits, safety standards, exemptions, regulatory norms, emergency measures, and even amendment of schedules are left to rules, regulations, or notifications issued by the executive. This abdication of parliamentary responsibility violates settled constitutional limits on delegated legislation under Article 245 and 246. And finally, Mr. Chairperson, sir, the bill concentrates legislative, executive, regulatory, and quasi-judicial powers in the central government and authorities appointed, controlled, and removable by it, including the Atomic Energy Regulatory Board, which needs to be an independent, autonomous statutory regulator. The absence of institutional independence, coupled with wide direction-issuing powers and insulation clauses, undermines the doctrine of separation of powers, which is a basic feature of the Constitution. On these grounds, I strongly oppose the introduction of this bill.
Thank you, sir. Honorable Minister, sir.
Manish ji is a good friend, his points well taken, but I just want to mention that most of these objections are based on the merits of the bill, which are normally and by convention taken up during the discussion. So right now we are here only to the competency of the introduction of the bill.
माननीय श्री बेहानंद जी, माननीय श्री बेहानंद जी.
He is not speaking. Hold on, N.K. Premchandran.
माननीय श्री N.K. Premchandran ji.
Sir,
Premchandran ji.
Yeah, sir. Thank you very much, sir. Sir, by Rule 72(2) of the Rules of Procedure and Conduct of Business in Lok Sabha, I do oppose the bill, the Sustainable Harnessing and Advancement of Nuclear Energy for Transforming India Bill 2025. So my point is, it is against the principles, against the directive principles of the state policy in Part 4 of the Constitution of India. because the entire purpose of this bill, promoting this bill, we are having the Atomic Energy Act, and also we are having all these legal mechanisms are also there. And you see that the nuclear energy as well as rare earth minerals and mining and mineral separation and the nuclear section, everything is being vested with the public sector undertakings. The basic purpose by which this law is being brought in is so as to privatize this nuclear energy sector for the private companies. I am not mentioning any companies. I am from an area, from the minerals, beach and mineral area, by which we are having abundant thorium is there, supply is there, but unfortunately it is not being exploited and utilized by the government public sector undertakings so as to make use by the private entities and the private corporates for which this bill is being brought in. So it is against the directive principles of state policy. Therefore, I strongly oppose the introduction of the bill on the basis of this objection. Thank you very much, sir.
Shri Professor Saugat Raji.
I oppose this bill with a long name, Sustainable Harnessing of etc. etc. Now, this bill is being a watershed in the history of development of nuclear power in the country. You know, the Pandit Jawaharlal Nehru, our first Prime Minister, he set up the Atomic Energy Commission. The Atomic Energy Commission made significant progress in harnessing atomic energy. We had our first nuclear power plant in Tarapur. India undertook 2 nuclear explosions, implosions, whatever you call it. First at Pokhran in '74, then under Atal Bihari Vajpayee, again in Pokhran in 1998. So nuclear energy has been a matter which has exercised.
Kindly be seated, please.
Lot of
Excuse me.
importance to the people. Remember, sir, in 2000,
Mananiya Sanjay Jaiswal ji.
during Manmohan Singh's prime ministership, there was a big dispute in the country over nuclear liability bill should be introduced. Manmohan Singh's purpose was to get nuclear energy technical know-how from America and other countries. Now this is a new step where slowly the nuclear energy sector is sought to be given over to private sector. The government has been talking about this for some time, and now we have the Adani's big in power sector. Now they want to get into nuclear power sector, and this bill is meant to facilitate Adani and other people.
1 second, sir. I heard you, sir.
This is a
Mananiya Mantri Shri Kiran Rijiju ji.
Since honorable members are repeatedly raising the opposition, opposing the introduction of the bill, today we are not passing the bill. There is no proposed for consideration. It is only introduction of the bill. And most of the opposition are coming, which are repeatedly being mentioned by honorable member, including what Manish Tiwari has mentioned. I have a specific point only. Under Rule 72(1), it is very specific on the legislative competence of this House to bring this legislation. Yes. And under Schedule 7 of the Constitution, in the list of union list at serial number 6, it is very specific. Atomic energy and mineral resources necessary for its production. Yes. So this House has very much have its full legislative competence to bring this bill. And as the Honourable Minister has stated, if there are consideration on merits, it should be brought out at the time of consideration. At this point of time, it is only introduction of the bill. So that will come back. Today we are not putting it for consideration.
Sir, if we assume that it is not in the competence of the House to bring, even if it is assumed that it is not in the competence of the House to bring in a bill related to nuclear energy or atomic energy, may I remind the honourable members and the House that the same House brought the Atomic Energy Act 1962 when Panditji was the Prime Minister, Pandit Jawaharlal Nehru, and the same House brought the CLND bill when Dr. Manmohan Singh was the Prime Minister. So, if the bill could be brought in the House when Nehruji was the Prime Minister, when it could be brought when when Dr. Manmohan Singh ji was the Prime Minister. Why now suddenly, because there is a different political party in power, suddenly the House has been forbidden from the prerogative of bringing in a bill on this subject?
Yes, sir. I heard both the sides. प्रश्न ये है कि विधेयक को पुनः स्थापित करने के अनुमति प्रदान की जाए। जो सदस्य इसके पक्ष में है वो हाँ कहें, जो सदस्य इसके विरोध में है वो ना कहें। मेरे विचार में निर्णय हाँ वालों के हुआ, पक्ष में हुआ, हाँ वालों के पक्ष में हुआ। माननीय मंत्री जी विधेयक को पुनः स्थापित
सर, I introduce the bill.
आइटम नंबर 16 अनुदानों की अनुपूरक मांगे, श्री नीरज मौर्य जी।
धन्यवाद सभापति जी। पूरक अनुदान मांगों के लिए 2025-26 72 अनुदान मांगे शामिल हैं। कुल राशि 1,32,268 करोड़ रुपए और अतिरिक्त अनुदान की मांग 41,455 करोड़ रुपए। इसमें दो तिहाई यानी कि 27,000 करोड़ से अधिक सब्सिडी पे खर्च करने की बात कही गई है। मान्यवर, ये आंकड़े कागज पर तो चमकदार लगते हैं, लेकिन हकीकत में एक ऐसी सरकार की कहानी बयान करते हैं जो प्राथमिकताओं से भटक गई है। क्योंकि ये ना केवल व्यर्थ का खर्च है, बल्कि आम आदमी की पीड़ा को नज़रअंदाज करने का प्रमाण भी है। मान्यवर, किसानों के लिए जो रसायन उर्वरक पे मांग रखी गई है, उसमें ज़्यादातर जो धन है वो सब्सिडी के लिए रखा गया है। मान्यवर, अभी आपने देखा उत्तर प्रदेश के अंदर किस तरह से किसानों का बुरा हाल रहा। लोगों को ना तो फास्फोरस पोटास मिला, ना यूरिया मिली, ना डीएपी मिली। मान्यवर, इस अनुपूरक मांग में 23,423 करोड़ रुपए सब्सिडी पे लगाने की बात कही गई है। महोदय, आज जहां हमारा किसान एमएसपी की मांग को लेके दर-दर भटक रहा है और उसको एमएसपी नहीं मिल रही है, किसान सड़कों पे खड़ा है, लेकिन सरकार सब्सिडी के नाम पे विदेशी कंपनियों को फ़ायदा पहुंचा रही है। आयातित यूरिया पर इतना खर्च क्यों? सरकार अपनी क्षमता बढ़ाने में नाकाम रही है, लेकिन किसान को कुछ नहीं मिला। किसान को केवल महंगाई, कर्ज और आत्महत्या करने पे किसान मजबूर है। हम मांग करते हैं कि सब्सिडी को पारदर्शी बनाया जाए, आयात पर निर्भरता कम करें और किसान कल्याण को प्राथमिकता दी जाए, तभी मान्यवर अनुपूरक का कोई महत्व होगा। मान्यवर, बहुत सारे विभागों की बात इसमें चर्चा की गई है। हम प्रमुख रूप से शिक्षा विभाग पे बात करना चाहेंगे कि शिक्षा विभाग का जो हाल है, जिस तरह से शिक्षा विभाग कार्य कर रहा है, मुझे लग रहा है कि ये जो अनुपूरक मांगा गया है उच्चतर शिक्षा विभाग के लिए 1,303.72 करोड़, इसमें 2,023.25 करोड़ की एक नई योजना लाई गई है, प्रधानमंत्री वन नेशन वन सब्सक्रिप्शन पर, जो वर्ल्ड क्लास इंस्टीट्यूशंस के लिए 65.45 करोड़। सभापति महोदय, ये क्या मजाक है जब भारत के जो ग्रामीण अंचल के बच्चे हैं आज वो स्कूल नहीं पहुंच पा रहे हैं, गांव के स्कूल बंद किए जा रहे हैं। ऐसे में वन नेशन वन सब्सक्रिप्शन का क्या मतलब है? जो डीम्ड यूनिवर्सिटीज हैं उनके लिए 42.63 करोड़ रुपए की मांग की गई है, जबकि जो SC/ST के लिए मात्र 2.04 करोड़ और ST के लिए तो केवल 33 लाख रुपए की मांग की गई है। ये भेदभाव क्यों? शिक्षा का अधिकार का जो कानून है वो अधर में लटका हुआ है। राष्ट्रीय शिक्षा नीति का वादा अधूरा है, लेकिन पूरक मांगों में एलीट इंस्टीट्यूशन को प्राथमिकता। हमारी मांग है बुनियादी शिक्षा पर फोकस किया जाए, आरटीई को मजबूत बनाएं, ना कि चमकदार योजनाओं के नाम पर फंड बर्बाद करके ये जो 90,812 करोड़ के ग्रास वे का हिस्सा है, जो सेविंग से मैच तो हो रहा है, लेकिन सेविंग कहाँ से आई? शिक्षा बजट में कटौती करके आई है। तो शिक्षा के बजट को काटा ना जाए, लेकिन शिक्षा की गुणवत्ता को भी महत्व दिया जाए। ये हम आपसे, सरकार से आपके माध्यम से मांग करते हैं। मान्यवर, अनुपूरक जो बजट आया है, इस बजट में अच्छा होता कि हमारे बरेली के अंदर एक सिंथेटिक्स एंड केमिकल्स लिमिटेड रबड़ फैक्ट्री के 1400 से अधिक स्थायी और हजारों अस्थायी श्रमिक जो बेरोजगार हो चुके हैं। फैक्ट्री बंद है और लगभग 1432 कर्मचारियों की देनदारियों का मामला भी लंबित है। मान्यवर, बेरोजगारी और आर्थिक बदहाली के कारण इन परिवारों पर जीवन यापन का गहरा संकट लगातार बना हुआ है। फैक्ट्री प्रबंधन ने बकाया वेतन और अन्य देयों का समुचित भुगतान नहीं किया। सरकार की उदासीनता के कारण ये परिवार भूखों मरने के पर मजबूर हैं। सरकार इन श्रमिकों के भुगतान की व्यवस्था भी अगर इस अनुपूरक में करती तो शायद उन परिवारों का भी कुछ भला हो जाता, लेकिन मान्यवर, सरकार ने उनकी तरफ ध्यान ही नहीं दिया। मान्यवर, अनुपूरक बजट आता है, मुख्य बजट आता है और हम सब लोग यहाँ 543 लोग चुन के आते हैं। मान्यवर, हम लोग अपने क्षेत्र में जब जाते हैं तो जनता हर तरफ विकास की बात करती है, क्योंकि एक यहाँ से नारा दिया जा रहा है विकसित भारत का नारा, और हम लोग खास करके जो मेरा आंवला क्षेत्र है, मैं ग्रामीण अंचल से आता हूँ। ग्रामीण क्षेत्रों में आज भी रास्ते अच्छे नहीं हैं, सड़कें अच्छी नहीं हैं, पीने की पानी की व्यवस्था अच्छी नहीं है, स्वास्थ्य सेवाएं अच्छी नहीं हैं। मान्यवर, जब हम लोग जाते हैं तो लोगों की अपेक्षा रहती है कि वो हमसे कुछ विकास की बात करते हैं, कुछ उम्मीद करते हैं, लेकिन मान्यवर, सरकार ने जब केंद्रीय सरकार को खर्च करने का बजट कम लगा तो सरकार ने अनुपूरक की मांग कर ली। लेकिन मान्यवर, हम सांसदगण जिनको बहुत कम सांसद निधि दी जाती है 5 करोड़ की,
आप कृपया कंक्लूड।
जब हमारे पास विकास की कमी आए या हम लोग नहीं काम कर पाते तो हम किससे पैसा मांगे? इसलिए मान्यवर, मैं आपके माध्यम से कहना चाहूँगा कि इस विकास में सरकार को हम सांसद लोगों की निधि को बढ़ाने पर भी विचार करना चाहिए। मान्यवर, जहाँ तक मुझे जानकारी है कि सांसद निधि सन 2010 में 5 करोड़ की गई थी। 5 करोड़ तब की गई थी जब जीएसटी नहीं थी। आज पूरे देश की कई विधानसभाओं में जो विधानसभा के सदस्य हैं, उनका क्षेत्र छोटा होता है, लेकिन उनकी निधि हम सांसदों से ज्यादा है। मान्यवर, 5 करोड़ कहा जाता है, उसमें भी 10 लाख कंटीजेंसी काट लिया जाता है
माननीय,
और जीएसटी लगाई जाती है।
धन्यवाद।
इसलिए मान्यवर,
प्रोफेसर सौगत राय जी,
मान्यवर, मेरी बात सुन लीजिए। आप
माननीय प्रोफेसर सौगत राय जी,
मान्यवर, कंक्लूड कर रहा हूं बस थोड़ा सा। मान्यवर, 2010 के मुकाबले महंगाई बढ़ी है, आबादी बढ़ी है, मतदाता भी बढ़े हैं, लेकिन सांसद निधि बढ़ाने पे विचार नहीं हुआ। ऐसा लगता है कि भाजपा सरकार विकास नहीं कराना चाहती, और अगर विकास कराना चाहती है तो इस सांसद निधि को बढ़ाया जाए, जिससे कि लोगों के हम लोग छोटे छोटे काम कर सकें। मान्यवर सभापति महोदय, मैं अंत में
प्रोफेसर सौगत राय जी, यस।
उनको रोकने को बोलिए।
नहीं, सौगत राय जी आप बोलिए। नहीं, आपको 3 बार एक्सटेंशन दे चुके हैं
सर।
आप 20 सेकंड में रखिए, आप 20 सेकंड में रखिए। यस, सौगत राय जी आप बैठ जाइए। 20 सेकंड्स प्लीज।
माननीय सभापति महोदय, जो प्राथमिकताएं हैं वो तो गड़बड़ लग रही हैं। रुपए 1,32,00,000 करोड़ का जो व्यय है, इसमें किसान, युवा, महिला, गरीब कहाँ है? ये सरकार अमीरों के लिए अनुपूरक बजट लेके आई है। इसलिए हम आपके माध्यम से मांग करते हैं कि सब्सिडी से कारपोरेट्स को ना ध्यान दिया जाए,
प्रोफेसर सौगत राय जी,
जो हमारे गरीब जनता है उसका ध्यान दिया जाए। मैं इस अनुपूरक का विरोध करते हुए अपनी बात को समाप्त करता हूं। आपका बहुत बहुत धन्यवाद।
प्रोफेसर सी next honorable member T.R. Baluji will be speaking, so kindly.
I rise to speak on the supplementary demands for grants. I resent the fact that the finance minister is not here. Even the minister of state, he is there, he has become president of UP BJP. What will he look into finance? Sir, this demand is one for additional 41,000 crore spent. 41,000 crore
please look at
budget
me. Yeah.
Outgo. But actually the total supplementary demands is rupees 1.32 lakh crores. Out of this, 90,000 is technical because this amount will be made up from savings of different departments. 41,000 crores roughly will be outgo from the government. Out of this 41,000 crores, fertilizer is 18,000 crores. And out of that, 11,000 crores is for fertilizer subsidy, 7,000 crores is for import of urea. And 9,500 crores to Petroleum Ministry, out of which the oil companies will be made up for their loss as far as LPG is concerned. Unfortunately, this country produces only 33% of its petroleum requirement, so you can understand the situation. Now, I would say that the finance minister has tried to do a reasonable job in the sense that only 4.4% is the fiscal deficit target we shall be able to meet this year. So even though the finance minister does not have a finance background, she has worked hard, I must say. But there are severe fault lines in the supplementary demands. What are the fault lines? Urea is in crisis. Farmers are lining up every day from the morning to get urea. Urea is being sold in black market. The government is doing nothing about that. Our production will be hit because of lack of urea. So, second thing I want to mention is that oil marketing company, they want to be fully compensated for their loss in supplying LPG. So we may be in for another LPG subsidy, LPG price rise. I would urge the government that let them give more money, but not increase the price of LPG. Now, I was saying that there are some fault lines in this whole budget. Why? Because even though we are controlling this thing, another is Vodafone. Vodafone government is considering relief for the financially stretched telco. So I'd like to know whether government will actually give the answer. Now, sir, you are a studious man. You must have noticed 5 months ago, Modi's friend Trump, he said that India is a decaying economy, finished economy. This is what Trump said. I want to know what the central government says. Sir, the IMF has said that India is in C category. As far as IMF retained its C grade for India's national account statistics or GDP data. So even though the कमलेश जी आप उनको फ्री छोड़ दीजिए, हमारा बात नहीं सुनेंगे एकदम। सर, GDP, they are saying that GDP growth is increasing, but IMF is saying that this is C grade in statistics. The government will have to reply what they are saying about. Sir, everybody will congratulate you for your election, but you listen to me. Sir, the other point I want to say is that where we are terrible is the rise in the fall of rupee. Rupee against dollar became 89.46 against the dollar from 89.12 against the euro. Our currency has fallen against all other major currencies, more against euro and also against the dollar. So we are in a very bad situation. All imports, including petroleum imports, will cost more. This is very bad. So we have to reply to Trump that we are not a dead economy. He said it on record that India is a dead economy. That's why you are not in a hurry to have a trade pact with India. IMF has given them a C grade. So we should be very concerned about all this. And you know, sir, we are discussing education a little while ago. India's rank in the Human Development Index is United Nations, UNDP, is 130. We are 130th country in the name of Human Development Index. That is on health, education and other matters. What has the government to answer about that? I don't want to speak for a long time, since Pratima Mondal will speak on our party. Sir, I want to pose one question. Why is the finance minister depriving West Bengal in the matter of MG-NREG? This year, the NREGA dues to West Bengal was 7,000 crores. For the last 2 years, it's 52,000 crores. And total dues of West Bengal is 2 lakh crores. So why West Bengal is being deprived? You think we shall be kept down forever? No. We have already protested. We shall continue to protest. There are some people who are inimical to West Bengal, like Shukanto Mojumdar. They don't want West Bengal to get money. But in spite of everything, we shall give poor people their sustenance and we shall win the elections in 2026. That's why supplementary demands is an essential part of the budget making exercise.